Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
All right, well, it is that time. It is that very, very fun time to get into emails, get into voicemails, and any other way that you guys were able to get in touch with me. I don't know, what other ways are there? Oh, well, Instagram and Twitter. We do have an Instagram one that I want to get to. If you want to contact us there, it's WWE_podcast. Wrestling_audio is where we're at on Twitter. One of these days, I will get back my original Twitter handle. I promise you. The WWE Podcast. You know, it hurts my soul every day because of all the years it took me to build up a following, and it just gets erased for no good reason. Well, okay. So let's get to it, guys. This is what it's all about. Nothing but you guys as far as your voices, and I do have, again, emails and a lot of voicemails. So let's get to it. Let's get started here for this February 24th, 2021. And this is from Damien. This came on Instagram. He says, "Hi, my name is Damien, and we've touched base through Apple email telling you about my history and story on how I got into wrestling. A loyal listener for years now. Continue to keep up the good work. Ever since the time Orton was red hot and Edge was injured after their match, I thought that Orton should have held the title after he won it from McIntyre. For him to come back and face Edge, because at the time it did make sense for me for him to compete for a title. He could have made his return by distracting Orton during a match with McIntyre down the road while the ref goes out and causes Orton to lose the title. This automatically would book a match between the two, and Drew would end up following his title reign elsewhere. I'm currently wondering what they have in store for Edge now, since it seems like he has a great reason to win the title because of his year-long comeback. But also, where are your best champion on the product right now? Is Roman, who can't lose? Well, first of all, yeah, Roman is my favorite right now. Like, I mean, as far as just overall, I mean, that's tough because I love Drew McIntyre as well. But Roman right now is killing it to me. He's on another level, a level that we all knew he could be at, but Vince was too damn stubborn over the last 6 years to even touch. Yeah, first of all, thank you for listening for so long. I appreciate that. There are tons of options out there. We all know the big podcasts out there, and it's the big deal that you guys continue to tune in. I appreciate it. Okay. So as far as Orton being red hot and the way that you lay this out with Orton and Edge, yeah, I was never a fan of Orton winning the championship if it wasn't going to go anywhere. It felt like it wasn't going anywhere because they dropped it 3 weeks later. McIntyre won it back on Monday Night Raw. And I was not a fan of that because I was ready for McIntyre to move on. He'd done a great job, but I was ready. And then McIntyre gets it back. I didn't like that. But then Orton also was the victim here because what the hell's the point? What are we doing? What are we doing? Just increasing the number of championships that you can say you've won? Is that what this is about? Just upping the numbers? I don't understand why they didn't just keep the belt on McIntyre if it was only going to be for 3 weeks. I think what they did was, as they have so many times, had a last-minute change of plans, change of heart, where they, at Hell in a Cell, which is where he lost it to Orton, he drops it to Orton there, and with Edge on his way back, perhaps somebody got in Vince's ear and convinced him to kind of flip things around and not do Edge and Orton for the championship, but rather Drew McIntyre holding the belt so he can drop it to, well, I don't think they knew The Miz was going to be the last one to the first one to take it off of McIntyre after that, but I agree. Yeah, I'm not a fan of short title reigns, particularly with the top championship in WWE. So, Damien, thanks for the question. Thanks for listening for so damn long to this crazy, crazy show. All right, let's get to emails here. And our first email tonight comes to us from Kevin. He says, "I know you don't usually watch NXT. However, the promo Nia and Shayna cut was really good. You had MSK and Beth eating popcorn and Raquel Gonzalez mentioning Nia's hole. Well worth a watch. I haven't seen it. I will see it. Thank you, Kevin. I have two suggestions for your Wrestling Nostalgia show, both from SummerSlam 92. Macho Man vs. Ultimate Warrior was billed as a corner as whose corner will Flair and Mr. Perfect be in? The other one is Bret Hart versus British Bulldog, where Diana Smith was in the middle. Both were very good stories. I started watching in 1988, went off around 2005 to 2018. I keep hearing about the Wyatt family, and as I missed that, is there anything else on the network you would recommend? Oh boy. Okay. So first of all, thank you for the suggestion of nostalgia. Now, here's the downside to me going backwards further than October of 1997 for me, which is where I started. As you all know, Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels, and Undertaker was my very first memory of wrestling. Not a bad way to start, right? Bad Blood, October. The danger of me going back is I didn't live it in real time. So if I didn't live it in real time, I sometimes I feel like I'm maybe not giving you guys a full analysis. Not that I wouldn't watch the match. Of course, I watch the match before I give you my thoughts on it. But sometimes getting those thoughts in real time when the match happened in 1992 would have been a more fun analysis, a more truthful and nostalgic way to look back on a match. Now, again, I have no problem doing that. I just haven't gone back beyond 97 for a reason. It's because I didn't watch wrestling before 97. Doesn't mean I can't go back and watch a match. That may not be a bad idea. As far as what you've missed on the network, what I could recommend, oh man. Well, I think first and foremost, The Undertaker's Last Ride documentary. That would be a number one. That's got to be it for you. Some of the other great things that I'd watch. I mean, any documentary or any of the Broken Skull sessions. I know that that's not a previous match recap or anything like that, but it would give you a nice introspective look into the stars that maybe are no longer with the company and you missed during that time frame. Outside of the Undertaker documentary, I would watch Undertaker HBK at WrestleMania 25. That during that time frame, it looks like you missed. I would watch CM Punk during his run in the early 2010s. That was insanely impactful. Brock Lesnar's return, The Rock's return in 2011. There's a lot, man. I mean, you could even Google it. Top moments in WWE during the 2010s. That may do it for you. Certainly moments that I've missed. But on the network, I mean, it's really endless. Those are the big things, though, that I would really watch. In my mind, those are the things I'd watch. Ric Flair's retirement happened in 2008, right after WrestleMania in Orlando. Lots of different things, man. So much. I mean, just so many things. I would start there if I were you. Thank you, Kevin, for your email this week. All right, let's get on to Terry. Terry has an email. He says, thanks for answering my email last week, and sorry for peppering you, but probably doing it again. First, I hate the 24/7 title. It's nothing but a prop. I suggest that they change it to another more serious championship like the old ECW or WCW title, TV title. It could give the lower mid-card something to actually fight for, and I think the Alpha Academy would be a great fit for Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, but make them a heel group. I think they would be entertaining, and lastly, get Bad Bunny off the air. I couldn't agree with you more. When celebrities enter the wrestling world and succeed, it makes some of the toughest people in the world look like weak, like a kindergartner beating up a high schooler. Yeah, I can't agree with you more about the whole celebrity thing. I went on a rant about this last night on my Monday Night Raw review, so I'm not going to rehash it, but I think it's very clear on how I stand and how I feel about celebrities coming into wrestling. That said, your suggestions about the 24/7 title, I think it lost and expired. Well, I'll say this. It expired a long time ago, right? The shelf life of this thing was gone about a year ago or more. It's long dead and gone, but WWE will not let go of it. You know why? Well, number one, it keeps R-Truth on TV, and most people like R-Truth. And R-Truth is a genuinely good guy, and he does have comedy. He's decent at comedy. But it also is their comedic break. Now, you may not think it's comedic. I don't think it's comedic. Most fans don't. But WWE thinks maybe there's one or two fans out there that do. And they always feel like they have to serve all audiences during a show. And there has to be a little bit of something for everybody. Which I completely disagree with. You know why I disagree with a little something for everybody? It sounds good in concept, right? It sounds like, oh, you're going to be serving everybody. If the whole family's watching, they'll be, dad'll like the straightforward wrestling. Mom'll like the fact that there's good-looking guys in tights and you get to see, hot bodies. I don't know. And the women's wrestling, of course. And then you have the I don't know, the son and daughter and they're 9, 10, 11, 12 years old maybe. And they like the comedy part of things and the hokiness and the wackiness of New Day. I would argue no. You know why? Most people don't watch it in families. Okay? Most people do not watch wrestling with their entire family. Most people watch wrestling alone. I know that. And I'm not just saying it's because of the pandemic. We're all watching everything. We're doing everything alone right now, right? But we don't watch wrestling with friends and family, typically. I'm sure some of you out there are like, I do. And that's cool. That's wonderful. I think you are the exception. But when you serve a lot of people and you're trying to serve a lot of masters, guess who you serve? Nobody. Because when you're trying to serve a bunch of people, all the different things that you think they may like, you, in essence, serve nobody because you're not focusing your energy on one particular segment of the market that maybe you could be really good at and not just kind of graze over for the sake of making sure everybody gets a little bit of something. So WWE will never change that philosophy. They would probably completely disagree with me, which I completely disagree with them. I don't need comedy in my wrestling. I don't. If it happens organically, cool. But that's what the 24/7 title is. Woo, man, I've only got your 24/7 title spot here. Let's move on into your email. Now, I know you say, too, that the Alpha Academy would be a great fit for Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. I know you say that. I don't think so. But after the Elimination Chamber, perhaps it is a good move for Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. Now, if they want to become heels, I don't have a problem with that either. Drew Gulak, right now, this past week got one-upped by Bad Bunny. You all know what I think about that. But at this point in his career, Daniel Bryan has gone through the yes movement. The yes movement is dead. It's I don't even think it's fun to chant yes anymore. I don't. I think it's long gone. It was very successful. Congrats. One of those things that I don't think will ever go away. It'll be the what chants. It'll be the new what chants, or the yes chants. But I'm fine with whatever Daniel Bryan does with it anymore. I'm not a fan of the Alpha Academy. But now that it's truly a heel faction with Otis going heel, and I'm fine with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak doing something. I liked when they were a babyface team and WWE just broke them up, which made no sense. So I'm cool with them going back because I think after Elimination Chamber we got our answer that Daniel Bryan is probably not going to be in the WWE title picture, and it's not 2014 anymore. Alrighty. So Terry, thank you for your email so much. All right. And I saw your subsequent email that said it's Terry from Springfield, Tennessee. So Terry from Springfield, Tennessee, thank you again for your email and taking the time. I know that emails sometimes can take longer than voicemails because typing does take longer than speaking. Okay, moving on. I'm just seeing a lot of voicemail notifications, which is the heart of our show here. But I'm weeding out any of the... here we go. Email from Petra. She says, I want to say a few words about Matt Riddle. Thank you for using the word Matt, by the way. Not just saying Riddle. We appreciate that here on the show. Winning the United States Championship. For one, just something I noticed, they technically aren't using the real United States Championship. The one Matt Riddle has is the fake Hurt Business version. So I just don't know if WWE doesn't think we have a memory or if they are just too lazy to do anything. So now about Matt Riddle, to me, his skill level deserves the championship, but his character doesn't. For example, when I see him in the ring, I think, how the heck is this guy positioned as a laid-back frat guy? And in Raw with a scooter, I just don't know what to think. Well, that's my thoughts on this. I know you agree with me character-wise, but I think that's it. Okay, first of all, thank you, as always, for taking the time to reach out and be a part of the show. I will say, for some reason, I don't have a memory because I totally forgot about that. Petra, thank you for bringing that to our attention, that this is not the United States Championship, that is the original championship. I am with you. Yes, it needs to be addressed. Thank you so much for that. I don't know, maybe it is laziness on my part or my brain is just fried over the last couple weeks. I don't know. But thank you for that reminder. I think a lot of us probably needed that because no one's brought it to my attention. So, boy, I fit that mold that Vince thinks we all are, just stupid memory, the memory of a goldfish type of wrestling fan that we don't remember anything from week to week, and it doesn't matter because we don't remember. Damn it. Thank you, Petra. Thank you so much. All right. And yes, I agree with you character-wise. I know that you said I'd agree, and I do. And I think if fans are split on his personality, it's all a matter of what personally strikes a chord with you. So for you and I, we're not a fan of this cool, like, laid-back, whatever, dude, tubular. Like, that's how I feel he is. It's obnoxious to me. But yet he gets in the ring and he shows the complete opposite. It doesn't make sense. Let's stop with the cool, laid-back, weird nicknames he gave people and talking about the universe and the stars, and I don't know. It's not my thing. Okay. Chris is our next email. He says, I was listening to your Raw review, and I agree with you that I don't think Lashley is not going to win the title. I agree with you that Lashley's not going to win the title next week, and Drew is going to get involved and set up a triple threat match at Fastlane. Do you think it's possible that Sheamus ends up interfering during that match and costs Drew the title to set up Drew versus Sheamus at WrestleMania? I can also see Lashley winning the title and maybe having Lesnar return the night after and set up Lashley versus Lesnar at Mania. Whoa. Oh, wow. A lot of cool possibilities there. As you were talking, as I was talking through your words, what if it's a fatal four-way at Fastlane? Maybe that's where we're going. As you talk about it, Sheamus is that other wild card. And Sheamus and Drew have unfinished business, it would seem. And if Drew shows up and Sheamus shows up and during the match next week, and everybody lays everybody out, everybody hits finishers, the title doesn't change hands, Miz is still champion, which we know is going to happen most likely. Fatal four-way. Sheamus, Drew, Miz, Lashley. I think that's very plausible at Fastlane. Because where does Sheamus go? He can't just turn his back on Lashley. We don't get the one-on-one. Sheamus was owed a one-on-one, which, don't forget, he told, and Adam Pearce promised him a one-on-one before the Elimination Chamber, because Sheamus was like, hey, I was supposed to get a one-on-one with Drew, and you can't do that in the Chamber, obviously, so don't forget, yes, we still could get Sheamus versus Drew at WrestleMania with no championship. It's possible. And Lashley and Lesnar. Yeah, I think Lashley and Lesnar is a crime that never happened. And maybe they are building up Lashley to face Lesnar at some point, if they believe Lesnar will ever come back to WWE. He doesn't have a contract right now. He's just sitting on a farm, doing whatever he does. And more power to him. He's sitting on a bank of money and a stockpile of money in his bank and enjoying life. Good for him. But good stuff, Chris. Makes me think. There's a lot of possibilities here. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. If you picture a chessboard, I guess is the best analogy I can make for how this is feeling to me right now. The chess pieces are not finalized for WrestleMania. We know this, right? But how many pieces on that chessboard are still in play? That's the key. I feel like there's a lot. We have Sheamus. We have Lashley and Miz next week for the championship that most of us believe will end in some kind of screwy finish. Maybe Sheamus ends up getting a DQ. So people are angry at Sheamus for laying out Lashley. And then we got Drew showing up, laying out Sheamus, laying out Miz, laying out Lashley. Maybe Miz, everybody gets laid out by Drew at the end. I mean, who knows? I think both will show up next week and we'll get a screwy finish. But the chess pieces, we have Miz, you have Lashley, you have Drew, you have Sheamus. If there's a fifth, it could be Brock Lesnar. But there's a lot to move around here. We are far from finished with things getting put into place for WrestleMania. So, Chris, thank you for making me think. This is now hurting my head in a good way. Okay, let's keep going here. Not many emails left, guys, so you don't have to hear me narrate things too much longer. Okay. This is from Paul. and Paul has a few thoughts on things going on right now. And he says, I hope you and your crew are well. Here are a few thoughts I have for After Elimination Chamber and Raw. Not sure if I will make it to the mailbag this week or I am too late. Well, you're not too late because I'm reading it. But big story, The Miz wins. You say that Miz won't be champ for long. That's for sure. I believe this is almost the WWE's way of showing gratitude to The Miz for working for his long, hard work with the company. It's not like they put the championship on him every year, just every decade. So I can live with that. That's very true. I think The Miz is also better known outside the wrestling world with his reality show with his wife and his movies, so I think WWE thinks more eyes will be on wrestling as the road to WrestleMania heats up. Bobby Lashley looks strong, and he will take the title through, though probably next Monday, not next Monday, but at Fastlane, and the culmination will be Lashley and McIntyre at WrestleMania. I hope Lashley wins, as many fans will be pleased, and Drew and Bobby can easily have a long feud into 2021. Okay. Well, I will say this. People do know The Miz from several different outlets. Most probably know him from wrestling, though, because he's been with wrestling longer than any other platform he's been on. Longer than the real world, longer than movies, longer than his Miz and Mrs. I would disagree, though, that The Miz would create eyeballs on the product. I don't think The Miz is a needle mover in any way whatsoever. I understand what you're saying. I think what you're saying has merit, but I don't think The Miz fits that. I don't think The Miz is a guy that will bring more eyes on wrestling. He's certainly not a needle mover. Not in any sense of the word, I don't think. I mean, it gets people buzzing on social media for a day, and people go, The Miz is champion? Let's check what's going on. And then they go, oh, Miz is champion. And they go back to tuning out. I mean, really. But yes, Drew and Bobby, I'm looking forward to that. And I think that Drew McIntyre could have an uphill battle on his hands in terms of fan support if it's Lashley versus him one-on-one at WrestleMania. Because I think fans are ready for him to move on and ready for Bobby Lashley to become champion and see what that's like. All right, your second point that you bring up, you say Charlotte's best promo ever with her father. Rick and Charlotte both sold it well, and the story of the disappointed daughter and the overbearing father clashing and trying to understand each other, yet standing up for their beliefs, was first rate. It seems almost inevitable that Charlotte and Asuka will clash at Mania. I think the story should be Charlotte and Asuka trading the championship a few times. I'm not a big believer in switching champions between opponents often, but why not for these two? It isn't like Asuka has had any creative push from WWE the last few months. If they're not going to elevate other female talent, then a prolonged Charlotte-Asuka feud would be better than the title being ignored. Okay, before I move on, you do have one more point, but I see what you're saying about championships at least being traded between the two. But should it come at the expense of the championship? And you may be saying, what are you talking about? Again, you even said that you're not a fan of championships switching between opponents. I am in favor of that almost never happening. Especially just to do it, right? Just to make something appear not irrelevant when it has been ignored for many months, but just at the expense of the championship, that would be using it as a prop, right? I mean, if you are using it, as you say, to bring more eyes to it and to get some kind of creative push going for the championship or an eyeballs on it and a reminder, oh yeah, the Raw Women's Championship's still around. I don't think the way to do that, though, is to use it exactly as a prop would be used. Literally a prop. That it's just they're trading it back and forth. That's how a prop is used and not a championship should be used. So I would almost never recommend a championship bouncing just to bounce between opponents. It's not about these two doing it. I almost don't want anybody doing that. I'm never a fan of championships doing that. It would have to be an extenuating circumstance. But there's no doubt that Asuka has been lost, completely lost in the creative process. No fault of Asuka. Just creative and Vince have not been focused on the Raw Women's Championship. And when I say at all, I literally mean like at all over the last 3 months or more. It has been embarrassing and disappointing, to be frank. I agree with you. Okay, your last point. Sheamus and Cesaro both get knocked at number 4 in their respective chamber matches. I'm not sure where this leaves either of them, especially Cesaro. He's shown as strong, getting impressive victories, and then eliminated by Jey Uso. Why? I hope they redeem him before Fastlane or at Fastlane. As for Sheamus, if they're going to do a Bobby Drew showdown, where does that leave his feud with Sheamus? A possible triple threat match at Fastlane. Sheamus has done some good work lately. I hope to see him fight for the championship soon. Anyway, a shorter email than usual. Take care and be safe, Paul. Paul, thank you for that. And yeah, it is shorter than that. Usually it's at least double this. No question. Okay, so I've already outlined in my previous answer you just heard about what I think could be an actual fatal 4-way at Fastlane. But the more important point that I haven't touched on is Cesaro. Cesaro being a guy that I was actually saying could be a guy you need to watch in a WrestleMania and could main event WrestleMania. My confidence in that has dropped dramatically because of what happened at the Elimination Chamber. Now, we haven't seen Friday Night SmackDown. That will be very telling to see how they recalibrate the fallout of where people now fall in the pecking order. That is going to be very, very telling for me for Cesaro because I was big on what they could do with him. And I thought they would pull the trigger. Not him becoming champion at Elimination Chamber, but rather at least winning the Chamber and facing Roman in a losing but close effort. So I was very disappointed. And it was Jey Uso. I was not a big fan of how they did that at all. But maybe there's hope. We'll have to see tomorrow night on SmackDown. It's hard for me to speak. Or tomorrow night. Jeez, I thought today was Thursday. Maybe it is in your world as you're listening to this. But in 2 days, 2 nights, as I record this, SmackDown will be on the air. And maybe we'll get more of an answer. So, okay. Thank you so much for that. I want to make sure that I don't have anything else in terms of, let's see here. Oh, how could I forget? Mr. DJ Kuzmo, who I know also sent a voicemail, so we'll get to that too. But DJ Kuzmo says, I'm disappointed that Bobby Lashley did not retain the U.S. title. I was rooting for his title reign to continue up until WrestleMania. In your opinion, how would have WWE Creative booked the triple threat match differently if Keith Lee was there? That's all for now. You'll hear me on the voicemail. Yes. Well, I alluded to this in my Raw review. And I think if Keith Lee was there, Keith Lee would have been the one to win the championship. Because I think they had all intentions of dropping the belt from Lashley so that Lashley could get involved in the main event. So whether it was Riddle or his replacement, which was John Morrison, I mean, they kind of made the right decision by making Matt Riddle champion. I don't think that was the plan going in. If Keith Lee was involved, Keith Lee would be champion right now, and not Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is a beneficiary of circumstance, beneficiary of injury or COVID or whatever the hell Keith Lee has. It seems like Keith Lee just continues to get sick or injured or in trouble that we don't know about. He didn't appear at the Rumble. He missed this triple threat. Something's going on with Keith Lee. I don't know what it is. He just keeps missing these things. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what he's doing. I don't know, but it's disappointing. But there's my answer, Mr. DJ Kuzmo. Don't worry. We're getting to voicemails very, very soon. Okay, let's see here. I think that might be it for the... Oh, wait a minute. One more. I promise. This is it. I dug through and I saw this one lingering. Danny from Newcastle. And Danny writes, I think the interference in the chamber from Omos will be to Kofi after their confrontation in Raw. Do you think this will happen at Chamber, or do you think Cody is stupid to confront him? Also, do you think if Brock came back in Mania, would your theory of him facing Drew become true, or do you think he will face Cena at Mania for one last time? Thank you for your mailbags every week. I'll see you after the Chamber in the next mailbag. So first of all, the Chamber, you wrote this before the Chamber, so it's a little unfair for me to respond to this. But I will say this. I don't want anybody I don't want Amos in a wrestling match if he can't wrestle. I'll leave it at that. Number 2, if Brock Lesnar came back, but I want him to face Drew, I don't think fans would want him to face Drew, but it would make sense that he chases Drew after what happened last year at WrestleMania. But if I was going to be given a choice between John Cena and Brock Lesnar to face Drew McIntyre, I would choose John Cena, because John Cena can cut stellar promos. It would be a decent match. I would rather have John Cena, and we've never seen it. So there is also that. So thank you, Danny from Newcastle. And, oh, geez. I said all emails were done, and then one literally pops up. I didn't miss it. It just came up as new. Oh, my goodness. Okay, if that happens again, I'm going to have to put it on pause, because I do want to get to voicemails. I know you guys want to hear other people other than me. Okay, but it is Jeff from the Philippines, one of my favorite listeners, and I do appreciate him calling every week. It's so cool to hear people from other countries just like thousands of miles away. So you say, I just thought of typing this message instead of recording a voice, so here are my thoughts. Yes, Jeff, it is weird to see you type and not call in. But you say, number one, remember when Lana and Naomi won a triple threat tag team match to be the number one contender at the Women's Tag Team Championship? I don't recall if they did face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the title. And Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez from NXT won the Women's Dusty Cup, so they're facing Nia and Shayna for the titles on March 3rd. And last Friday on SmackDown, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair got a tag team title match just 2 days later at the Elimination Chamber when Reginald penned Nia. Although I'm not a fan of Lana or Naomi, it's just unfair that they never got the championship match even when they were the number one contender. Yeah, it is unfair. It is, but I think that Lana and Naomi will get that championship match. They will, because, well, they won it on Raw. I mean, so they should be getting a championship match, and I would like to see Lana and Naomi have the titles. I think it's kind of time to move on from Lana or from Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as champion. I'm over it. Yeah, I agree, and it is kind of weird. But number two, I'm also thinking of a triple threat WWE Championship match at Fastlane. But what I have in mind is Lashley wins the championship from Miz on next week's Raw. Lashley successfully defends the title against Drew McIntyre and Miz at Fastlane. Brock Lesnar returns and says they never got his rematch for the title. Lashley versus Lesnar at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. What do you think? Looking forward to the Mailbag episode. I always listen to all your shows. The hosts are doing a great job. Keep safe. Jeff, thank you, and same to you. Okay. Well, at the risk of repeating myself, which I'm going to try not to do, and I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme through my voicemails too, so, but an abbreviated version of this is, well, number one, they're giving away another WWE Championship match on free TV. There is that cardinal sin that I don't understand why they do this so regularly. It's really maddening as a wrestling fan because it devalues the championship itself. But they're doing it, whatever, I'm moving on. I think that you could have Lashley Lesnar at WrestleMania. If, again, Lesnar is such a wild card, right? If I was a betting man, I would say Brock Lesnar is not involved in this year's WrestleMania at all. I think he just goes away. Like, we don't have a Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the first time in like 10 years, which is fine. I think Brock Lesnar doesn't need to be there. We're doing just fine without him. But if he's going to return, Lashley Lesnar is certainly intriguing as hell. But who plays the babyface? Because, Lesnar can't cut a promo. And what are you going to do? Have Paul Heyman come back and do part-time on Raw, part-time on SmackDown with managing Roman Reigns? Maybe. But then Bobby Lashley is not exactly a babyface or a heel. He's kind of in between. It'd be a weird dynamic. I don't know what WWE would do, but that match needs to happen. I agree. It needs to happen. Thank you, Jeff. And maybe I'll hear your voice next week or read your email. Okay, enough. Before things continue to move on in my mailbox, let's get to those voicemails right now.
Hello, podcast world, WWE podcast world. This is none other than DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag show. I'm recording this the Saturday before Elimination Chamber, and I know that a couple of days from now we're going to know the final results. But I'm just kind of going back on what happened on SmackDown. And first and foremost, I'm not buying this whole Sasha Banks babyface, as our women's SmackDown champion. Inevitably, she's going to turn heel. And I see the pairing of her and Reginald and now Bianca Belair. So I'm like, is this going to be some sort of faction? And please, 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 I hope that Sasha and Bianca that they don't get the tag team titles. Because we all know how this story goes. Usually when a champion, a women's champion, and another wrestler team up and get the tag team titles, eventually, they're going to split up. So I hope Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retain as the champions at Elimination Chamber. I really hope that there's no shockers, that everybody, all the champions retain their titles. And yeah, man, that's all I got to say for now, and I'll talk to you next time.
Well, there he is, Mr. Infamous DJ Kuzmo, and stealing my lines. But good to hear from you. I'm glad to hear your voice again. So, number one, we all know you got your wish about Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retaining, so no fear in that. But Sasha Banks as a babyface, look, I mean, I have not been a fan of her as a babyface since she, quote, turned babyface, which I say in air quotes because it never happened. I'm not going to go back into why. If you listen to the show, you know why I don't think she ever turned. But she continues to come out every week and just do her obnoxiousness with the way she speaks, telling the world that the women's division revolves around her. That's a babyface statement? Really? Maybe this is the overt signs of her actually turning heel in the way that they're casting her as a heel. Perhaps it is, because no babyface in their right mind would say that. Or at least nobody in creative is dumb enough, I hope, to think that that is something that's endearing or likable or admirable to say. I mean, you could say the same thing, too, about Bianca Belair. She's at least more likable on the mic, and she's more likable in her energy because she just feels fresh and new, and she's kind of the underdog right now, and her family, she's been very emotional and transparent about, what this has meant to her. But calling yourself the EST, how is that not arrogant? You're the EST. You're the best. You're the strongest. You're the fastest. Really? I mean, to me, it's not. It's a cute little catchphrase, but it's a heel catchphrase. It shouldn't be a babyface catchphrase. But she's making it work, I guess. And she's more of a babyface than Sasha Banks has ever been in the last year or more. So I will say that. Sasha Banks is just so obnoxious. And I don't mean that in a way that I want her going away or fired or off my screen. No, I don't feel her. I don't feel this frustration that I feel for like The Miz or others on SmackDown and Raw. She's a great performer, and she's super good looking, but to me, she just is miscast. It's a simple case of being miscast. End of story. She's excellent in the ring. I want her to stick around. I don't want her going anywhere. Just flip the script, man. That's it. I agree with you, man. Okay, let's keep going to the next one.
Hey, Matt, it's Kyle from New York again. I'm just gonna say now, Gio the G-Man from Pennsylvania. The WrestleMania challenge you challenged me to, I accept your challenge. I accept the match at WrestleMania. Let's do this thing. And, yeah. So now that's out of the way. I sent this voicemail on Sunday night after Elimination Chamber. I just finished watching Elimination Chamber. It was all really good until the very end. So, if anyone didn't see this pay-per-view yet by this Wednesday when Matt does his Mailbag episode, spoiler alert, Drew McIntyre lost the WWE Championship. I was pissed. Beyond pissed. I'm telling you, I swear to God, I was so pissed. I was so pissed that I literally threw my controller across my room and it hit my window. That's how pissed off I got. And I wanted to scream, are you effing kidding me? I know you have a PG, so I'm not going to say it. I literally did scream, are you effing kidding me? I was pissed. Because I'm with you. I hate the Miz and Morrison just as much as you do. Well, everything you've said about them on this podcast, everything you've said about them on here, I have the exact same feelings about them. I can't stand them. I am so pissed off that they did this. So, I'm not going to say what are your thoughts, because I know you're probably gonna rant about them on Monday, on Raw. On your Raw review, or with the botch guy on your Elimination review. I'm saying it right after this interview, so you're probably gonna upload your review and making it like I don't know, like an hour or two after I send this. So I'll probably already know by the time you get this of what's you ranted about it or not. So I'm asking another question. Do you think Drew McIntyre is going to get a rematch, and do you think he's going to fight The Miz at WrestleMania and win the title back in front of fans? Also, do you think it's a good idea or not? That does happen. Do you think it'll be a good idea for the whole in front of fans? Do you think it's going to be like, not that special anymore because he's already won it twice in front of fans? Anyway, that's it. I'm pissed. And, I'll see you next week. Thanks.
Hey, Kyle. So, first of all, I'm glad we have a WrestleMania match between our listeners to fight over Sasha Banks. That is, I'll see if I can get that officially sanctioned. Maybe we can have a contract signing. We'll see what we can do. But, look, yeah, I mean, we all know what happened at Elimination Chamber, and you heard my rants many times of Botch Guy and Monday Night Raw and all that. I am all hopeful he's a transitional champion. But if you're hoping, if fans out there are hoping he drops the belt this Monday night, I think you'll be sadly mistaken and very disappointed. It's meant for Fastlane for him to drop. If Miz, let me just say this right now as a fair warning to all listeners. If The Miz is still champion after Fastlane, that would more than likely mean he will be champion until WrestleMania and main event WrestleMania. Now, of course, they do WWE Championship matches on free TV. It doesn't mean we can't have one on Raw between Fastlane and Mania. But I would venture to guess that is probably not going to be the case, and Miz will be champion into WrestleMania. If that happens, look out. Put the families and kids, the wife and kids to bed. This show could turn rated R real quick. I know I've threatened that many times, and again, the reason I don't do it is not because I'm a square or I don't believe in cussing or anything like that, and whatever. It's a PG show because it's best for our sponsors and for like monetizing this show. It's not good to cuss because fewer sponsors want to work with you. That is the real reason. I'm not hiding it, right? Like I monetize this show. You guys hear the ads, right? That's not a surprise. And the ads are frustrating to listen to. I listen to podcasts and I get frustrated with the ads and I'm a podcaster, but I understand it because you monetize your show. Why wouldn't you? And so the point is I don't do it because it's just not good for my wallet, but it doesn't mean I don't want to. So, which is why I'm thinking about doing a separate feed that I don't give a damn about. We'll see. If it's Miz versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, that does not sell me. That's a terrible main event because we've seen Miz get Claymored countless times. He's been the butt of a joke countless times. It's not realistic to think that The Miz is any kind of true, real threat to Drew McIntyre at all. That would be the worst option of all the options I've heard. And I don't mean that as an insult to you, because we have to go through all options. I just mean it for WWE's perspective, and if they're considering that is a terrible main event. Terrible. So, thank you, Kyle, for your voicemail, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week. All right, let's keep going.
Hey, Matt, this is DJ Kuzmo once again. I just had to add my 2 cents. This is Monday morning. I'm giving this call. This is the Monday after Elimination Chamber. And man, oh man, so much to say in so little time. But first and foremost, I know everybody is poo-pooing that The Miz is the WWE champion. But stay with me, folks. All roads will lead to Drew McIntyre retaining his WWE title. I know it's a mouthful. But also, I gotta say that the Elimination Chamber, pretty much an average pay-per-view. I will give it a C+. But the highlight of the night, definitely Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley looked like a freaking monster, man. I mean, after the Elimination Chamber match, he came after Drew McIntyre and just demolished Drew McIntyre. So, I know somehow there's maybe some sort of partnership with The Miz and the Hurt Business. But man, oh man, I would definitely want to see Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Another thing I want to mention is, can we get rid of those countdown clocks in the Elimination Chamber matches? I mean, come on, this is not Royal Rumble. This is Elimination Chamber, so at least get rid of the countdown clocks. We already know who's inside of the chamber. And, yeah, man, overall, it was pretty much of not a good show, not a bad show, but a so-so show. But, man, do I miss the No Ways Out pay-per-view. I wish that the WWE brought that back. And, yeah, man, that's what pretty much I got to say right now. I know I got a lot more to say, but I try to keep it to 3 minutes. So, to everybody, to you, to Matt, everybody, I'll talk to you next time.
DJ Kuzmo with a second drop of knowledge here on the show. And so, DJ, I agree with your No Way Out message that I wish they brought No Way Out back to. It was one of my favorite pay-per-views. Now they've replaced that with Fastlane and Elimination Chamber. It used to just be one pay-per-view between Rumble and Mania, and now there's two. Which, again, it helps flesh out more storylines. I understand why there's two now instead of one. But I love the No Way Out. Why can't we just take Fastlane, throw it out the window, and put in No Way Out? I don't know why we can't. It's not offensive. It doesn't, I don't think, point to anything that's politically suggestive. It's, in this very, very sensitive, really hostile environment we're in today. I don't get it. I mean, didn't we actually have Roadblock one time? I think it was Roadblock and Triple H faced Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship, and Brock was supposed to face Bray Wyatt. I don't know why I remember that. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. But anyway, nonetheless, yeah, I agree. Bring back No Way Out. To your point about all roads leading to McIntyre regaining the championship, I don't know about that. I think more likely roads lead to Bobby Lashley gaining the WWE Championship rather than Drew. And the reason I say that is Drew's been champion for the better part of a year. He's lost it twice now in a year, but regained it quickly. And now he has lost it again, and I think he'll be back for blood this coming Monday night on Raw. But I think all roads more likely lead to Bobby Lashley as champion. Now, does that mean Bobby Lashley is a babyface or a heel? Probably a heel, because he's MVP at his side, and MVP cuts really good promos and has been a better heel than babyface. So I would think it's Lashley as a heel, in my mind. And you have really three heels after this. You have The Miz, who's champion right now. God, that hurts me to say. You have Sheamus, who turned on Drew. You have Bobby Lashley, who destroyed Drew. It's really one babyface versus three heels. So that's an interesting dynamic, too. Especially if they go with a fatal four-way at the Fastlane for the WWE Championship, which I think they will. And it'll make Miz look like, oh my God, he's going to lose the belt. He doesn't have to be involved in a decision. He'll throw a fit. We'll all get told that, oh my God, Miz is, the odds point to Miz not walking out as champion. We'll get all the nonsense we normally get with triple threats, on top of the fact that we're told, oh, he doesn't have to be involved in the decision, which they tell us every time. And for some God-forsaken reason, every multi-person match, fatal four-way, fatal five-way, triple threat, is always no disqualification. Why? Why is this always a thing? It doesn't, just because there's more people in the match doesn't mean there should be no rules. It's easy. Here's a simple solution. If I hit, say, DJ Kuzmo in the back with a steel chair, it's me, DJ Kuzmo, and Kyle from New York, right? The last couple callers, it's us three in the ring, and I hit DJ Kuzmo in a triple threat match in the back with a chair. I get disqualified, and I leave the match, and then it's a one-on-one. There it is. Simple. Why does every triple threat and fatal four-way and fatal five-way and six-pack challenge have to be a no disqualification? It's very simple to solve this problem. Okay, well, DJ, I really don't want to hit you in the back with a steel chair. I just thought of the last couple of people that came on the show here. So, oh goodness. Okay, thank you, DJ. Let's continue on to our next voicemail here.
Hey man, it's Justin from Maryland. I just gotta say, man, when I saw the Miz win, man, I was so upset. I immediately turned it off. Like, I did not want him to win. I was hoping that when Drew kicked out the first time, like, okay, there's a chance he might, hit a Claymore and win, but that didn't happen. So, gotta ask you, man, where do you, how would you book this going towards WrestleMania? I think that it should be Drew McIntyre against Bobby Lashley at Fastlane. The winner faces The Miz. And, of course, Drew should go over, and then I think Drew should recapture the title. But how would you book this? All right, thanks for the call. All right.
Hey, Justin. Thank you so much for calling. I've alluded to this throughout the show. I don't want it to be a number one contenders match where Drew faces Lashley and the winner faces The Miz, because you know what that means? That means The Miz is going to WrestleMania as champion. That's not a path, a road, or an idea I want to entertain. Okay, so I just don't, and it sounds like he wouldn't either based on your reaction. And again, I know that if WWE officials were listening to this or a talent were listening to this, they would probably say out loud, they're complaining, but isn't that what you want? You want them to feel anger. Again, I would argue to everybody out there, what people feel about The Miz is not that we want to see him get his ass kicked. We've seen it a million times. It's not satisfying anymore. What we want to see is just Miz either off TV or in a reduced role, not playing a high schooler playing high school, really, with Morrison. That's what we want. I want to change the channel when I see The Miz. I don't want to watch wrestling when I see The Miz. That is not what WWE is going for as a business. So I think that's the difference, when I think most people would agree. That's why we're so angry. It's not because, oh my God, Roman is still champion, or Randy Orton is still champion, or Randy Orton hasn't got his ass kicked yet. That's heel heat. Like, I felt real heel heat. Roman has real heel heat. Not The Miz. People are angry because it's ridiculous that The Miz is champion. It's a joke that he's champion. It's an absolute joke. And so that's, again, how I'd book it is this way, very simply. Fatal 4-Way at Fastlane between The Miz, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. We have Bobby Lashley win the match at Fastlane. He becomes champion. Drew, over the coming weeks, ends up, facing Sheamus and facing The Miz in qualifying matches, or they just have a triple threat, and that person faces Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. So going into WrestleMania, Bobby Lashley is champion. That's what I want. Bobby Lashley is champion going into WrestleMania. And then we have Drew win the triple threat against Miz and Sheamus, and we get a one-on-one against Bobby and Drew. I don't want a multi-person match in any combination for WrestleMania in the main event at all. I don't want it in any capacity. I know some people think, oh, but that'd be great to have Sheamus. No, I'm sorry, it wouldn't. Sheamus is a B performer. I said this with the botch guy, I believe. Or maybe it was with Ashley, the lost conversation that I'll never get over. That when I look at Sheamus, he is the letter B. He is just good. He's very rarely ever very good. He's never really that bad. He's just always good. Like, just good. He's good at promos. He's good in the ring. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Nobody is that excited about Sheamus, but also nobody's really, really down on Sheamus. He's just there. And he's just he's good, right? Am I wrong? So, I really think that right now it should be one-on-one, and I think The Miz loses the belt at Fastlane, and we can all go praise the high heavens. If Miz wins and he's going into WrestleMania main event, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, so let's keep it rolling to the next one.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore, Maryland. I wanted to talk about stuff that happened last night with the Elimination Chamber, and the fact that Edge is now going to be facing Roman Reigns. Of course, it'll be Sasha and Bianca, and really seeing that at that point made me really think about. And now that Miz is the WWE champion, it made me think like, oh my God, Raw is even worse than it already was before. It's like, clearly they, WWE's kind of like me about Drew McIntyre. They don't see him as a major champion. He wins the championship, he loses the championship. It's kind of like Sasha Banks in that regard, where he wins the championship and only holds it only holds it for a couple of weeks, and then loses it. So, but I don't know. What do you think they're going to be doing with Raw moving forward, and also Drew McIntyre, because they clearly don't see him as a top guy like they do Roman Reigns or the SmackDown in general. It's a better show than Raw, and it's continuing to be like that. So, what do you think about that whole situation? That was it. There's no call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. So you guys, you've heard my thoughts on the whole state of Bobby Lashley a million times now on the show, because it's coming up, and it should come up. It's a big deal with The Miz and everything, and Sasha Banks for that matter. But, Raw as a whole, I guess I'll answer that question because it's a little bit different of a question from what I've gotten. Raw as a whole, over the last several months, has felt a little lost at times. I think SmackDown consistently has been the better show lately. What I mean by lately is the last few months. They have their weeks where Raw's better than SmackDown, but more often than not, SmackDown is a better show, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's 2 hours versus 3. That's a big deal. big deal. Even though Raw is always going to feel like the flagship show. Always. It always will. I don't think that WWE can do anything at this point to change that feeling from fans. That Raw is the better, or not better, but the flagship show. Now, how I feel about Raw as a whole, I feel like they need something to shake it up. And not a draft. God's sakes, not a draft, please. Maybe an infusion of talent from NXT. I don't mean drain the entire NXT roster. But bring Karrion Kross. I know some people love him, some people don't. But Karrion Kross coming up. Adam Cole coming up. Hell, Finn Balor coming back. I know he's the champion. I get it. But there is something that's needed to kind of kick Raw in the ass. Like, Raw needs something. I don't need more Miz TV. Okay, I don't need that. I feel a little bit weary of that. I'm just tired of it. They need something, and I agree. I don't know exactly what that formula is. Perhaps it is more new talent. New talent, though, while WWE always thinks that, they just want new, fresh matchups, new, fresh faces. Yeah, that'll work in the short term, but then they will be infused with the creative beauty that is Vince McMahon, meaning they will just kind of also get lost in the creative and either misused, misbooked, or getting frustrated with the way the fans are getting frustrated with the way WWE is using that individual. So yeah, I mean, we also have, don't forget, a big debut, official debut on the women's side of things with the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley. So that's a big deal for the women's division. That's huge. Huge. So that's something that WWE on the men's side need. They need something like that. And again, it's not always about the cure-all of just bring new talent up and everything's good. No, because if your concepts of creating storylines are still the same and your production is still the same and everybody feels the same and looks the same and or at least cuts promos the same, then bringing up new talent won't make things feel new. It'll just feel like you're ruining new talent by the system being more important than the individual wrestlers, which they will always say is. That's the problem. So, yeah, it's a loaded question, man. Loaded question, but okay, let's keep things going on.
Hi, my name is Brett Brett. I'm probably not going to do my last name. Brett Newton from Texas, Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I love your show. But I just wanted to tell you that I don't do, NXT. Probably, I don't think you do either, so, yeah, we're on the same team, or same page now. But, Elimination Chamber, I don't watch wrestling, to be honest with you, but I listened to your podcast about it and watched some YouTube clips and stuff. Elimination Chamber. You've really, changed my mind about the Miz, You've really told, some wrestlers you've really been telling me a lot about, changing my mind. Miz, I don't really care. I don't really want him as a champion. But I hope, but to be honest with you, so WrestleMania, so I guess Edge versus Roman, that'll be sick. That would be a pretty cool match. Honestly, I think it'd be kind of cool to see Edge as the Universal Champion. I think that'd be pretty sick. Hey, I got a request for the Wrestling Nostalgia. If you could do a Wrestling Nostalgia on the Royal Rumble, I think it's Royal Rumble 1999. I don't remember exactly which year it was, but I want you to do the Royal Rumble match on, the Royal Rumble 30-man elimination, match. The year that China entered the Royal Rumble, I want you to do a review for the Wrestling Nostalgia on that. And to be honest with you, I love when you do your rants. So, because it just makes me crack up a lot. I'll probably hang up here. Bye-bye.
Hey, Brett. New voice on the show. Thanks for listening, and hope everything's going well down in Texas. It seems like it's been an absolute you-know-what show over the last week or so with the the cold and the people's roof, like literally the roofs caving in and the ice and everything else. But it seems like all of a sudden it switched to like 70 degrees down there. So I don't know what the hell's going on. You guys got a bipolar weather pattern down there. But nonetheless, I'm glad you enjoy my rants. I'm certainly glad of that. I'm not trying to change people's minds. I will say that. I'm not trying to convince people one way or the other, because it's very difficult to convince wrestling fans to start to like or dislike somebody. So I want to make that clear. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. If you take my advice, or you take my opinion and you feel the same way, and maybe I make you look at something differently, then that's cool. That's really cool. But I just want to make sure that to everybody, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. Just as when people try to change my mind, it's not usually something that comes very quickly or naturally to wrestling fans who seem to be very set in their ways. So, I feel almost guilty that I'm making you change your mind and making you like and dislike different individuals based on, what I say. I will say that what I talk about is true. Like, I'm not putting on an act or trying to, coerce people or trying to manipulate people into liking or disliking certain people, whatever. But I just wanted to put that out front. So Edge and Roman at WrestleMania. I haven't really talked about that much because I haven't thought about it very deeply, because there's not much to think about yet. There's no story yet. It's just they've speared one another. End of story. There's no backstory for them to dig on. There are different generations of wrestling. But with Edge's promos and Paul Heyman's promos, and now even Roman Reigns, the way he has come into his own and not always just standing there and having someone else speak for him, this could be an amazing, amazing build. I'm looking forward to the build of these two over the next 8 weeks. I really think it could be something special. Less than 8 weeks now, I think. It's like 40 some days, so that's, like 6 weeks. We don't have a whole lot of time now to WrestleMania. I keep thinking it's 8-9 weeks away, and I've said that for the last couple of weeks. So either I'm in some kind of time capsule, or I'm just not picking up on the fact that time is continuing to fly by. I think it's the latter. So cool, Brett. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you continue to call in and watch those YouTube clips and the nostalgia. I would agree. Yeah. So that was China. I believe that was 1999 when she entered the entered the men's Royal Rumble as a woman. And I'm not a fan of that at all. I will just say, I could do nostalgia on that, but I will just kind of give you a spoiler alert. I love that Royal Rumble with Vince McMahon winning, and The Rock ended up causing Austin to lose to Vince in that match. And Austin would go on to win or recapture that number one contender spot to face The Rock at WrestleMania 15. But I'm never a fan of the men entering the women's, or really the other way around, the women entering the men's, because you never see the men entering the women's. If they did that, imagine the backlash from WWE and the public relations and all that. Oh my God. But China, I remember that well. I wasn't a fan. Just like when Nia Jax entered the Rumble, I was not a fan. I think it's stupid, for lack of a better term, because it just is. Okay. Thanks, Brett. Let's keep going.
Hey, Matt, this is Casual Wrestling Fan here. I want to start off by saying the Elimination Chamber was awesome. Oh, my God. As I called you last week, I told you, I'm tired of Drew being champ. I didn't care how he lost it. It didn't matter to me. When Bobby Lashley came out there and whooped up on Drew, I was happy. I was through the roof. I was saying, yeah, Kevin, because I had seen MVC and Miz talk. Then when I heard the Miz music, I said, yeah, take the bill. Take the bill. Because I knew he had to have some type of agreement with Hurt Business, because he's not going to do nothing for free. They'll feed. And then on Monday night, which, let me say first, Mrs. Casual was a fan, hated it. She was pissed. She was visibly mad. And as I'm screaming, yes, she's getting side-eyed, me giving me the, oh no. So she was a huge Drew fan. She's really mad about that. But on the flip, when Bobby Lashley came out there and told the Miz what it was, my wife and this guy who is a fan hates the Hurt Business. But for the next week, she's a Hurt Business fan because she hates the Miz. Oh my God, I love it though. Personally, I think Bobby will take it. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are especially that Drew is going to get involved. I think he will, but I'm hoping they let him wait to the end of the match. I think you go ahead and put the belt on. I think the Miz was literally going to be a transitional champion, but a short transitional champion. You didn't want Bobby Lashley taking the belt from Drew McIntyre because that's going to mess up my prediction, the WrestleMania match. I think you have Drew versus Bobby. I don't think this is something that Fastlane can help. I hope it's not a triple threat. I hope they do a one-on-one. But personally, I hope that Bobby takes the belt from Miz on Raw, free TV. I'm up for that. But I think how to set it up was perfect. You got the Miz. You got a beaten, battered Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley comes out there, beaten, battered, and some more. Miz come out there. It's an opportunity to punk he is if he takes the belt from him. And then Bobby, as the brother he is, takes the belt from the Miz. It sounds too much like right. It doesn't put Drew in the bad light at all. He still looks strong. He still looks confident. And that gives you, in my opinion, my prediction, the Drew versus Bobby match. Hopefully Bobby goes in as champion. Drew put Drew in chase mode. I hope Drew doesn't take the belt from him. I hope Bobby is a dominant heel champion. Hopefully till, sometime, in my opinion, till next year. But that's all I got for you this week. That's what made me happy and go crazy. So good job, Bobby, for all the people that had the Miz as champion. Just root for Bobby to take the belt from him, and we'll all be happy. But y'all have a great rest of your week.
All right. Well, I don't know what it is, but it seems like we end the show every single week with the casual wrestling fan. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, I will say, your mic was a little muffled this week, so I don't know what that meant to you. I mean, maybe you just put it closer to your face, or maybe you had a bad connection. It wasn't choppy. I mean, as we all heard, it was just a little muffled. But I got the gist of what you're talking about. And, I hope WWE is not causing marital issues between yourself and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan, because she just can't stand The Miz, and you don't mind it because you just want anybody but Drew as champion right now. So I hope WWE is not going to be responsible for marital problems. My wife doesn't watch wrestling at all. She is not a fan at all. So we don't have to worry about that. She just kind of lets me do my show and, helps pay the bills at times. But so here, I like your booking. I think we all want to see Bobby Lashley as champion. And I will say, too, I am okay with Drew dropping the belt. I have seen him be champion. He's been a great champion for the better part of a year. And we've had our time. Now, have the fans had time in person to have that moment with Drew in person that they've wanted so badly? No. But that time will come. As we finally get back to normal life, which will happen, despite what Fauci says about, you got to wear masks for 2022, and then they keep moving the goalposts to further and further, don't they? Oh, you got to wear 2 masks. Oh, you get the vaccine. Guess what? Still not going to get back to normal. Oh, sorry. You still got to socially distance, even though it's getting a little ridiculous. Okay, it's not politics. We should just, and science is not really being followed a lot of times, and whatever. But we will get back to normal once again. I'd say in the next year. I mean, I would think we'd have full stadiums again and all that kind of thing in the next year, because a lot of jobs and money are on the line, and money's being lost at an insane rate for WWE, for venues, for staff that are employed by those venues. So much is really relying on not just WWE, but professional sports, NFL, MLB, NBA, a lot. So that said, where the hell am I going with this? I like it. And fans have not had that in-person chance, but they will when Drew is in chase mode and we're all back and he gets to celebrate with fans at some point. So I'm fine with Drew in chase mode. I would want Bobby as champion over Drew right now. I think we're in agreement on that. I want to see Bobby as champion right now. But I don't think that maybe that won't happen until Fastlane or WrestleMania. There's a lot of ways that can go here because there's so many different moving parts, as I alluded to earlier in the show. With Sheamus, who's still out there. The Miz is currently champion. Drew hasn't returned yet. He took this past week off, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with building anticipation to have him come back. And then, of course, we have Bobby Lashley, who's just destroying people left and right. Beat Braun Strowman clean this past week. So again, I will reiterate what I think is going to happen next week. We get the one-on-one between Bobby Lashley and The Miz for the WWE Championship. Sheamus comes in, brogue kicks, I don't know, maybe both guys, causes a disqualification, so the title doesn't change hands. And then we get Drew coming out, laying out Sheamus, laying out Miz, laying out maybe even Bobby, and holding the championship high. Basically setting the table for a fatal four-way at Fastlane. That's exactly what I think is going to happen, and we'll take it from there. But Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, thank you as always for calling, and thanks to everybody. I know that I saw some duplicate voicemails out there. If you send more than one, I try to get to it. There were some out there. I understand if you're like, hey, I had more than one. I know. I did see them out there. I just want to make sure the show is not going too long, and I'll get to it next week. So thank you, everybody. At least I gave everyone who called in a chance to call and hear yourself on the show, and I get to respond, even if you did have multiple voicemails. And I know that, I tell everybody 3 minutes, but what are y'all doing to circumvent that? Sending me multiple voicemails. Y'all are smart. Okay. Thank you, everybody. As always, I'll talk to you next time.